Hey guys, this is Bradley, and this is going to be the beginning of a new series that I'm calling Mindset Mondays. And this quick video is just going to be a series overview talking about what we're going to be covering over the next many weeks. I plan on this going for several months, so I'm going to be going into a lot of these individual subjects or areas of personal development and a lot more in depth in following or subsequent videos. And my goal is to try to do one video per week that may end up getting cut up into multiple videos so that I can drip them out throughout the week. But my goal is to really have one, major lesson per week that I can share with you guys. So this series overview, I just kind of want to give you a little background, a backstory as to why I began this series and why this is important to me and why I want to share this with you. So about 4 months ago, maybe 4.5 months ago now, and currently as of today, it's September 12th, 2017. I actually recorded a long video yesterday covering all of this stuff, but it was a bit too long and it just didn't come out right. So it's now Tuesday and I'm re-recording. So although I'm still calling it Mindset Monday, this is actually being recorded on a Tuesday. So about 4.5 months ago, I got reintroduced into meditation and breathing. And it's not something that I really had ever had any success with before. I tried it. I'd attempted meditation in the past, but I was never successful with it. And in part it's because I'm an entrepreneur, right? And as many entrepreneurs are, we often have a tad bit of ADD, right? Attention deficit disorder, as well as OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. And so I've never really been able to meditate at all because the noise in my head, the incessant internal dialogue, it just never stops. You know, it's like a stream of consciousness that just continues to run at all times. And it's very difficult to quiet that or to calm that noise and to focus. And that's part of the reason why I was never successful with any sort of meditation practice. But the reason why I got introduced to meditation again, or reintroduced to it, and decided this time it was something that I was going to put a real effort into trying to get better at and to accomplish, to just be able to sit and meditate, is I read Tim Ferriss's book called Tools of Titans. Great big book, and it's really good. And Tim Ferriss has interviewed hundreds, if not over 1,000 top-level performers in various industries, whether they're health professionals or athletes or business professionals, entrepreneurs, any sort of top-level performer in any industry that you could imagine. Tim Ferriss has interviewed, and he compiled and distilled down to just the best of the best interviews and the best content within each interview, and compiled this book called Tools of Titans. Very good book. And there's health, wealth, and I think wisdom or something like that is like the way the book is divided up into 3 different sections. So all the interviews in each section have, pertain to that particular type of subject matter or overall topic. And what's really cool about it is, after reading through that book, he mentions in the beginning about how there was one trait that was common, the most common trait among all of the people that he's interviewed during the course of his career, is that they all meditate. And so after reading that book, I said, even though I was never able to meditate before on my own, because I really only gave it a half-assed attempt, right? It was a half-hearted attempt to try to do it. And then because I wasn't successful, my ego kicked in, and I would say, oh, that's hocus pocus bullshit. That stuff doesn't work, you know what I mean? So I, after reading this book from Tools of Titans, or from Tim Ferriss, called Tools of Titans, I realized that if it's good enough for the top achievers in any industry, then it should be good enough for me as well, and that I ought to try it. So I started looking online, doing a little bit of research on meditation and guided meditation and stuff, and I found Headspace, which is an app, and I downloaded it on my Android. You can also download it on Apple phones, iPhones, and it is a great app because it causes you, or kind of teaches you through guided sessions, about 10-minute sessions on how to breathe and how to focus your mind and kind of just observe thoughts. And so it's a great app, and you get a 10-day trial. I think it's 10 minutes per day for 10 days that you get as the guided meditation to kind of get you started. At the end of that 10 days, you can upgrade for the Pro account, which is what I did. And I decided to give it a try. And I sat down every morning for 10 minutes in the morning before I started my day. It would be one of the first things I did after I got up out of bed. I'd go make my, get dressed, go make coffee, and then I would sit on the couch and I would put the headphones in and turn on the Headspace app, and I would go through this 10-minute breathing and guided meditation exercise. And at the end of 10 days, I actually noticed a difference in my ability to focus on tasks or projects that I was working on in my business or in various businesses, and I was able to focus a little bit better and kind of calm that never-ending noise that's going on in my head. Don't get me wrong, the noise is still there, but I was able to kind of quiet it a little bit or calm it down a little bit. Maybe just allow it to happen without it being all-consuming like it had always been throughout the majority of my life. So at the end of the 10 days, I decided to go ahead and buy the upgrade to the Pro plan, and I continued my meditation practice on a daily basis. I started to build that habit. And around that same time, I had also got introduced to a journal that was called the 5-Minute Journal. And it was a great starter journal for me because it's not something I've ever done. I've never journaled. I've never had a diary. I've never had a professional journal. It's not anything that I've ever really wanted to do. I just never built the habit. And it's a good habit to have, though. It really is. And so I got introduced into the 5-Minute Journal right around the same time that I started this meditation practice and these breathing exercises. And the 5-Minute Journal was very simple. It just is, you're supposed to have, you're supposed to contribute about 5 minutes of time in the morning and then 5 minutes of time in the evening every single day. And one of the things it would ask you is at the top, it would say, list 3 things that you have to be grateful for. And that way you start your day, and that's for the morning, right? So in the morning you sit down and you open up the journal and you write down 3 things that you have to be grateful for so that it starts your day on a positive note. You start thinking about, instead of the things that you don't have or the things that you want or the tough circumstances in your life or whatever, you start thinking about the things that you do have to be grateful for, your talents and abilities and the blessings that you already have. And so it's a way to kind of frame your entire day in a positive light. And then there would be one thing that would say, what one thing could you accomplish today that would make it awesome, or something like that. And so that would make you think about not only the gratitude, what you had to be grateful for, but also what your goal for the day would be. And so I would write down my goal for the day, and it would help me to focus in on that one specific goal or task or whatever it may be for the day. And that would really help me to reduce distractions and stay more focused, be more productive towards that end, right? That one goal. Then in the evening, before you go to bed, you're supposed to write down 3 things about the day that were awesome. So 3 things that happened today that were awesome. 1 lesson learned, like what could you have done today that would have, that could have made the day better. And again, the 3 things that you had to be grateful for that happened throughout the day. So that ends your day on a positive note as well. So before you go to bed, you're thinking about things that you had to be grateful for instead of things that you don't have or, tough circumstances in your life. And so I started doing that along with the 10-minute Headspace app in the morning. And so that would be my, 10 minutes of Headspace breathing and meditation. And then I would spend about 5 minutes in the 5-Minute Journal. And then again, in the evening, I would spend about 5 minutes in the 5-Minute Journal, just writing down the 3 things that I had to be grateful for before I went to bed. And I noticed at the end of that 10-day period that I had started to form this habit and that my attitude had improved, right? And so I continued with the Headspace app. I went ahead and purchased the Pro. And then I got introduced to a better journal, in my opinion, than the 5-Minute Journal. It's called the Best Self Journal. And we're going to talk about that more during when I get to the video about resources and best practices. But the Best Self Journal is very similar to the 5-Minute Journal in that it has that 3 things that you have to be grateful for in the morning. There's an element of the Best Self Journal that is a morning and an evening thing. And it's also one that you would carry around with you throughout the day because it has kind of like a daily planner integrated into it. So it's got 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. basically that you can write in blocks of time for different projects or tasks. It's also got the 3 things that you have to be grateful for in the morning. Then on the other opposite page, it's got your primary goal. So it's like a 12-week goal, or it's basically 13 weeks. But so there's 4 13-week quarters in a year to make up 52 weeks. And so every 13 weeks, you start a new journal. and you create one primary goal for that 13-week period. And then there's 3 daily tasks. So you have a primary goal that you rewrite every single morning in the Best Self Journal, which is great because it constantly reinforces that goal, that primary goal that you have that you want to accomplish in 12 or 13 weeks. But then it has lines or basically 3 blank lines that say, what are your daily goals, or what are your goals for today, the tasks that you want to complete today. So not only do you get your overall 12-week goal at the top, but then you get 3 different lines to write your daily goals. So activities that can help you to progress towards completing that goal. And then in the evening, there's that section once again about lessons learned. So things that happen throughout the day that you learned a lesson from, or that you should have learned a lesson from. Then 3 things that happened throughout the day that were awesome, that you have to be grateful for. So it's a great journal, and I ended up picking that up and replacing the 5-minute journal with the Best Self Journal because it's more like the 5-minute journal for entrepreneurs. So it's very good for productivity and for keeping your goals and keeping focus on your specific goals. And so I picked that up, and I decided to make that part of my daily routine, is to do the meditation in the morning, which is just 10 minutes a day with the Headspace app. And then what I do is immediately following that 10-minute meditation and breathing exercise, I take my Best Self Journal and I sit down and spend about 20 minutes writing out my day and filling out the Best Self Journal for the day. And that includes blocking time, so creating time blocks throughout the day. Any meetings that I have or scheduled phone calls, I pencil all that stuff right into the journal. And then at the end of the day, I go back and I revisit it. And I look and I write down the things that lessons learned, for example, or 3 things that happened that were awesome. So again, it creates that habit of in the morning being grateful and also thinking and planning your entire day out. And then also in the evening, it helps you to think right before you go to sleep about things that you have to be grateful for and what you accomplished through the day and how you could have made it better. And so that kind of helps to program your subconscious mind while you're sleeping, right? Because if the last thought that you put in your head before you go to bed is kind of like what you had done today, which is focused on a specific goal, right? And completing tasks to accomplish that goal, or at least to work towards that goal, then while you're sleeping, your subconscious is working on also working towards that goal. Does that make sense? So it's a very good journal, and I decided to make it a part of my daily routine and continue to do the 10-minute Headspace guided meditation every single day. And I've been doing it now for like 4.5 months, and the Best Self Journal. So that takes about 30 minutes, right? So 10 minutes of the guided meditation with the Headspace app, 20 minutes or so to plan my day with the Best Self Journal. So that's about a 30-minute window. So I just started waking up 30 minutes earlier and started creating that in my daily habit. And I noticed within about a month, really, that I had started to achieve so much more. And the goals that I had set, so my 12-week goal, which are usually bigger goals, right? They're not like a weekly goal. It's a much larger goal. I started progressing towards that a lot faster and getting a lot more work done. And what I noticed especially was that it helped me to eliminate distractions and to kind of block out the noise from, email and text messages and social media and desktop notifications. And now there's even browser notifications, all that kind of stuff kind of helped me to avoid that or eliminate that. So the Best Self Journal and having this guided meditation is something that now, because I started to see the results that it was producing in my own life, I started to notice changes. Then I said, man, there's a lot to this, and I want to get more into figuring out how to kind of reprogram my own mind in this meditative state, or in this kind of calm, relaxed state when I'm in the morning, especially after I've done my meditation and I've planned my day. I want to see how else can I improve upon this, right? How can I add to this? And so one of our mastermind members in Semantic Mastery, I coach digital marketing. And in my company, Semantic Mastery, we have a mastermind program, which is our top level members. And one of our mastermind members is named Damon Green. So Damon, if you ever see this, shout out to you. He introduced me to a book called Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, Dr. Maxwell Maltz. And it's absolutely a fantastic book. And it talks about how to reprogram your subconscious mind in order to basically achieve any goal you want, and get rid of negative memories and limiting self-beliefs and improving self-esteem and all this kind of stuff. And I started going through that, and I became absolutely fascinated with it. And to the point where my OCD kicked in, my obsessive compulsive disorder kicked in, and now I am enthralled with it. And so here we are about 3.5 months since I was introduced to Psycho-Cybernetics. And I've been in deep study every single day now for 3.5 months. And I spend now the 30 minutes every morning doing the 10 minutes of guided meditation with the Headspace app. And I call that my warm-up. That's like my precursor. That's my pre-game activity, essentially. I do that first thing in the morning after I get out of bed. I go make my coffee, you know, get dressed, make my coffee, all that stuff. And then I sit down on the couch and I spend 30 minutes doing the 10-minute guided meditation, 20 minutes planning my day with the Best Self Journal, and then I spend an hour. After that 30 minutes, then I spend another 60 minutes doing creative visualization, going into the theater of my mind. We'll talk about that more in another video coming up here in a minute. But I go in and I do visualization, and I start focusing in on the goals that I want to accomplish, not just longer term goals, but even daily goals. Like, what do I want to accomplish for the day? And I visualize that. I visualize going through the motions in my head. So, and then besides that actual visualization practice, I also do more study. So I either read for about 20 or 30 minutes, additional reading about visualization and meditation and, you know, self-discovery and self-improvement, personal development, that kind of thing, or I listen to audio programs to kind of help reinforce this and to keep the momentum going and keep the fire burning, so to speak. And so about 3.5 months into it now, I've learned a lot, and I want to share this. And I started talking about this a little bit in our mastermind community through some of the webinars that we do. We hold bi-weekly webinars, and started getting some really good positive feedback from some of the members saying that this is one of the missing ingredients for a lot of online marketing training programs, is the whole mindset and motivation aspect of it. And so I really wanted to create this series so that I can share what I'm learning because of the effect that it's had on my own life. And I want to share this with others because I'm excited about it. I'm very enthusiastic about it. And besides that, it's also for a selfish reason, because if I commit to teaching it, then by default, I'm going to have a really good grasp on these concepts. And so I also committed to teaching this and this series, Mindset Monday series, specifically so that it would force me and hold me accountable to you all, the audience, to stay on top of this and to continue study and to continue trying to master this. And I know it's a lifelong journey, but it's something that I'm fully interested in. So that's really what I wanted to talk about in this first video, is what Mindset Monday is, give you a series overview, set the stage, the background as to where this began, why it began, and why I'm doing this. So I welcome some comments, guys. Hopefully you will get a lot out of this series. In the following video, we're going to start right with number 1, which is attitude of gratitude. Then we're going to move to number 2, which is goal setting and achievement. And we're going to talk about self-image. And then we're going to talk about, for number 3, meditation and breathing. And don't check out on me with that. I'm telling you, that's really where it all begins, is through meditation and breathing exercises. That's how you can start to actually implement all of this that I'm going to be sharing over the next many weeks, okay? Because I want to go real deep into this stuff with you guys, all right? Also, creative visualization and shadow boxing. We're going to talk a lot about that in an upcoming video. And then I'm going to be sharing some resources and some best practices, I should have put an S on there, that can help you for like additional resources, like for example, the Headspace app, the Best Self Journal. I'm going to give you some books or some audio programs that you can go check out on your own. Either go to Audible or go to Amazon. You can buy it via Kindle or, you know, paperback or whatever. There's all these different things that I'm going to be sharing with you that I found to be incredibly useful in my own journey and discovery of this personal development, creative visualization, goal setting and achievement, and that kind of thing. So again, Bradley Benner, I'm really excited about this Mindset Monday series. In the next video, we're going to talk about attitude of gratitude.